Hello, today is Wednesday, April 27th, 2022. Here's an interesting article about our voice and voice patterns. I'd like to have a deep voice. I'm Korean. We Koreans don't have many deep voiced men compared to Americans, but I feel like I'd like to have a deep voice like a Song Cho in America. He's a nice voice actor or voiceover actor. So let's take a look into how our voice is shaped. I've never read this article, but I just saved it for my daily English reading. I don't have any intention to infringe on the copyrights. It's just purely academic effort to read this article and understand the key takeaway points and to memorize key expressions. Big Think is a good company. They produce a lot of good articles about things around us. Neuropsych. How a mother's voice shapes her baby's developing brain. Most of us carry a mother's voice in the neural patterns of our brain. By Kate Felaba, September 1st, 2020. Felhaber. It is no surprise that a child prefers its mother's voice to those of strangers. Beginning in the womb of fetuses, developing auditory pathways sense the sounds and vibrations of its mother. Soon after birth, a child can identify its mother's voice and will work to hear her voice better over unfamiliar female voices. A 2014 study of preterm infants showed that playing a recording of the mother's voice when babies sucked on a pacifier was enough preterm to improve the development of oral feeding skills and shorten their hospital stay. Preterm infants. A mother's voice can soothe a child in stressful situations, reducing levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and increasing levels of oxytocin, the social bonding hormone. Oxytocin, the social bonding hormone, and cortisol, the stress hormone. Scientists have even traced the power of a mother's voice to infants' brains. A mother's voice activates the anterior prefrontal cortex and the left posterior temporal region more strongly than an unfamiliar voice, priming the infant for the specialized task of speech processing priming. While it makes intuitive sense that a mother's voice has a special power over infants and toddlers, what happens as the children grow up? Daniel Abrams, a neurobiologist at Stanford University School of Medicine, and his team of researchers set out to answer this question using functional MRI, fMRI, a neuroimaging technique that measures brain activity by detecting metabolic changes in blood flow. The researchers examined 24 children between the ages of 7 and 12 who had normal IQs, had no development disorders, and were raised by their biological mothers. While in the MRI machine, these children listened to recordings of nonsense words spoken by their mothers or by other women. The researchers specifically chose nonsense words so as not to trigger brain circuits related to semantics. Regardless, the children were able to accurately identify their mother's voice more than 97% of the time in less than 1 second. But what actually happened when these older children heard their mother's voice? The team hypothesized that listening to her voice would produce more activity in the so-called voice-selective brain regions involved in recognizing voice and processing speech compared with when they heard unfamiliar female voices. But what the scientists found was even more remarkable. A mother's voice activated a wide range of brain structures, including the amygdala, which regulates emotion, the nucleus accumbens, and medial prefrontal cortex, which are part of a major reward circuit, and the fusiform face area, which processes visual face information. This pattern of brain activity can be likened to a neural fingerprint, where a mother's voice triggers specific activity in a child's brain. The investigation didn't stop there. The team found that the more neural connection between these voice-selective brain regions and those related to mood, reward, and face processing, the more social communication abilities our child had. In other words, the neural fingerprint of a mother's voice within a child's brain can predict that child's ability to communicate in the social realm. If that neural fingerprint is thought of as a biomarker in the child's brain, then how different does it look in children with disorders in social function such as autism? And how does the neural fingerprint change in adolescence and into adulthood? The answers to these questions remain unknown, but it is now scientifically proven that most of us carry a mother's voice in the neural patterns of our brain. Bedtime stories, dinner time conversation, and the chatter we heard before birth identify us uniquely as surely as the fingerprint, enabling emotional development and social communication in childhood and probably through life. This article was originally published at Eon and has been republished under Creative Commons. Read the original article. Thanks, Big Think, copyright 2007 through 2018, and Big Think Plus, Smarter, Faster trademarks owned by Freethink Media Inc., all rights reserved. Big Think is a good company. I enjoy reading the article. I wish there are more companies like this. They improve our daily life by making us understand how humans function, how the world around us is going about their business, how our universe is composed of. Big Think. It was a good reading. Bye bye. I have to go to work now.